Welcome to Patriot Plaza.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Master of Ceremonies for today's dedication, ABC 7's John Scalzi.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to the Patterson Foundation for inviting me to be the Master of Ceremonies on this historic day. The community dedication of Patriot Plaza. After years of dreaming, designing, planning, and building, today, the Patterson Foundation will turn over this beautiful ceremonial amphitheater and its powerful art installations to the National Cemetery Administration. Since Abraham Lincoln's time, national cemeteries have been set aside to honor men and women who served their country with distinction. Sarasota National Cemetery is now home to Patriot Plaza, which will provide a place of peace and reflection for veterans and their loved ones for decades to come. I would now like to welcome the Director of Sarasota National Cemetery, Mr. John Rosentrader.
Thank you, and good morning. I'm pleased to welcome you to the Sarasota National Cemetery, one of 131 national cemeteries managed by the Department of Veterans Affairs, National Cemetery Administration, and one of 7 here in Florida. Although this is one of VA's newest cemeteries, our mission of honoring veterans with final resting places in national shrines dates to the Civil War. I had the privilege and adventure of working with the Patterson Foundation on Patriot Plaza since I arrived here as a director in May of 2012. As I'm sure you will hear many times today, this project is really the first donation of its kind of this scale. And I dare say we have all learned a lot from this experience as the scope and design grew and changed. But what hasn't changed over the past 2 years, what has never faltered for even a millisecond, is our shared commitment to creating a focal point worthy of the men and women buried in these hallowed grounds. As you can see by the results, the engineers, architects, designers, artisans, and trades have more than delivered on the Foundation's promise that Patriot Plaza would honor veterans and inspire patriotism. Before I turn back the podium, let me acknowledge the partnership of Deborah Jacobs, Sandy Beckley, and all our friends at the Patterson Foundation, our resident engineer, Mark Hogan, Sarasota National Cemetery Advisory Committee, my team here at the cemetery, and everyone else who helped us get this landmark day. Thank you all. We invite all of you to come back soon for a ceremony or for quiet reflection of beautiful Patriot Plaza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rosentrader. In 2011, Glenn R. Powers was selected as the Deputy Undersecretary for Field Programs, National Cemetery Administration. In this position, he is directly responsible for the operation of all 131 national cemeteries nationwide and all of NCA's memorial programs. Please welcome Glenn R. Powers.
Thank you, and good morning. It is my honor and privilege to be here today for this community dedication. As Cemetery Director John Rosentrader mentioned, we have from the beginning approached Patriot Plaza as a focal point for remembering the service and sacrifice of those who have worn the nation's uniform in war and in peace. Yet while the elements of this amphitheater and the art and landscaping surrounding it are modern in every regard, the concept of a gathering place within national cemeteries is a very old one. I am standing today on the rostrum of Patriot Plaza. Rostrums where citizens gathered to hear commemorative speeches on patriotic days were common in ancient Rome. They can also be found in our earliest national cemeteries, especially those here in the Southeast. Flag assembly areas are a central and cherished feature of our national cemeteries, symbols of community and shared values. With space for speakers and plenty of seating, Patriot Plaza incorporates aspects of both the rostrum and the flag assembly area, while wholly reimagining both concepts to provide shade and comfort, beauty, and food for thought as well. The images and words captured here provide a record for future generations to learn from, and they reassure service members, veterans, their families, and survivors that their sacrifices are neither invisible nor forgotten. On any given day now or far into the future, visitors who come to Sarasota National Cemetery can look to Patriot Plaza for inspiration as well as consolation. I'm sure you agree these are extraordinary gifts to bestow on a community. On behalf of the National Cemetery Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs, I congratulate and commend the Patterson Foundation staff and board and everyone whose generosity and hard work brought this vision to fruition. May the example of Patriot Plaza serve as a catalyst for vital partnerships between national cemeteries and their neighbors elsewhere around the country, and may it forever remind us that America is the land of the free because it is always and also the home of the brave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. Those rousing marches that we have had the opportunity to listen to this morning were played by the Venice Concert Band, led by Mr. Bill Milner. The Venice Concert Band is a Legacy of Valor partner, and over the past year, Legacy of Valor partners have been out in our community, raising awareness and encouraging all of us to honor veterans, embracing freedom, and to inspire patriotism. The Venice Concert Band will now play the Ceremony of Allegiance while 14 veterans organizations present their colors.
provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves, our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the perfection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Patriot Plaza's design includes an 80-foot stainless steel flagpole, which will allow America's stars and stripes to fly prominently and proudly overhead. We welcome our Legacy of Valor service partners and staff members from Sarasota National Cemetery for the first ceremonial rising of the Patriot Plaza flag. Please stand when the flag is raised. congressional resolution signed by President Herbert Hoover in March of 1931 gave the United States our national anthem. Please rise and stay as vocalist Sarah Peoples-McNatt and the Venice Concert Band present the Star-Spangled Banner. The term chaplain is used in today's military to describe the professionals trained to serve the spiritual needs of service members and their families, regardless of religious affiliation. I would now like to bring to the podium Chaplain Colonel Charles C. Caudill, United States Air Force retired, for our invocation.
In the glory of this place, may our hearts really rejoice, because we are now in the presence of Almighty God. So may we feel His Spirit, may we feel His love, and may in our hearts know this is the beginning of a dream. A dream is now coming true. For in a place where we used to gather only for the graves, we now are able to gather for the celebrations. So let us pray. Eternal and ever-loving God, we bow before you with joyful hearts. We gather here to celebrate the dedication of the Patriot Plaza, which honors veterans, inspires patriotism, and embraces the right of freedom as written in our Constitution. Your desire and inspiration has been received by the citizens of Sarasota, who have come together to serve its veterans and their families through Legacy of Valor. The Patterson Foundation also responded to your call and fulfilled its dream to build this magnificent Edison and donate to the Sarasota National Cemetery for current and future generations. We rejoice that your message was sent to those honored to act. We ask your continued blessings upon all who made this day possible by donating their unselfish time, creative talent, labor, and financial gifts. Help us to always demonstrate joyful celebration in Patriot Plaza in the presence of the markers of those who were willing to serve our country and offer the last full measure of patriotism. We thank you for inspiring the creation of the partnership between the Patterson Foundation and the National Cemetery Administration. May this dream spread throughout our beloved nation. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
The Patterson Foundation fully funded and guided the construction of Patriot Plaza, as well as ensuring it will retain its beauty for generations to come with a generous endowment. Please help me welcome the chair of the Patterson Foundation's board, Mr. John Berteau.
Thank you. I had the privilege of knowing Dorothy Patterson for over 20 years. She was a lady of vision and strong values. When Dorothy Patterson created the Patterson Foundation a number of years ago, she imposed no restrictions, no limitations on the foundation. Subsequent to her death and the full funding of the Patterson Foundation in 2009, the board has kept to her philosophy of no restrictions. The board is composed of Dan Bailey and Rick Gregoria and myself. Without the vision and courage of Rick and Dan, Patriot Plaza would not be here today. The policies and philosophies of the Patterson Foundation are ably implemented by Deborah Jacobs, President and CEO, and the many strong members of the Patterson Foundation team. Unlike most foundations, the Patterson Foundation has no grant applications and no grant cycles. We do participate in charitable partnerships, which are for a relatively long time, partnerships which are innovative, transformational, and sustainable. An example is here in Patriot Plaza of innovation. Never before has there been a public-private partnership such as the partnership with the Patterson Foundation and the United States Department of Veterans Affairs National Cemetery Association. We are transformational. A few years ago, this was a cow pasture. Look around you at this magnificent pavilion and feel the touch of the heartwarming photographs. We are sustainable. The Veterans Administration will provide for the maintenance. The Patterson Foundation has created an endowment in perpetuity for the rejuvenation of Patriot Plaza. At this point, I would like to ask all veterans and active duty personnel to please rise and be recognized. Thank you. Here today, we honor the sacrifice of our veterans and their families. But what is the meaning of their sacrifice? The Pulitzer Prize-winning author Rick Atkinson, in his trilogy of World War II, quotes a rifleman in the 157th Infantry upon seeing a concentration camp. Quote, "I have been in the Army for 39 months. I have been overseas in combat for 23 months. I would gladly go through it all again if I knew that things like this could be stopped." This national cemetery is a place to inter our honored veterans and families, but also it is a place to recognize their commitment to democracy, freedom, and the greatest ideals of America.
Soldiers from World War I, World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraqi freedom, and Afghanistan are all honored here at Patriot Plaza. Some of the brave men and women who have served are sitting among you. Others who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom are laid to rest nearby. Legacy of Valor partners, the Jacobites Pipe and Drum Band, join us with a tribute entitled Sands of Kuwait Desert Storm.
The Legacy of Valor campaign had far-reaching impact on our community. Organizations large and small held events dedicated to our veterans. Close to 500,000 citizens participated in Legacy of Valor events, hearing the messages of honor, freedom, and patriotism. This past year, Thunder by the Bay honored veterans with a Legacy of Valor ride. Motorcycles began from the Bayfront Park, and with flags flying, they traveled to Patriot Plaza. Due to its success, the Legacy of Valor ride will become an annual event.
We are honored to have representatives from the Legacy of Valor ride with us today. The funding of the Patterson Foundation in 2009 introduced a new model of philanthropy. Through purposeful partnerships, the Patterson Foundation is igniting sparks of change throughout our region, our country, and beyond. Please welcome the President and CEO of the Patterson Foundation, Deborah Jacobs.
You may know of the Patterson Foundation in a variety of ways. Maybe our support of the Season of Sharing, where annually people in our region contribute funds to provide for one-time emergency assistance for families on the verge of homelessness. Or perhaps you know about the Patterson Foundation from our work with K-12 schools and all of our cultural organizations on edexploresrq.com. An online platform that is like eHarmony for cultural experiences in the classroom. Or maybe you are one of the 18,000 donors who participated in the Giving Challenge this year, where our region raised $3 million. We were #1 in the country of all communities who did this. Actually, everyone in the Patriot Plaza today is an example of how generosity changes and enriches our lives. Today, though, it's all about Patriot Plaza. And I want to take you back on a little journey in time. Where did our wealth come from at the Patterson Foundation? It goes back to the mid-1800s, when Joseph Medill bought into the Chicago Tribune for 2 reasons. He wanted to make money, and he wanted to create the Republican Party and get Abraham Lincoln elected president. I don't know whether you noticed, he was successful. During President Lincoln's second inaugural address, he proclaimed that the nation will care for him who shall have borne the battle, and his widow and his orphan. Thus, the network of national cemeteries was born. As a fully endowed charitable foundation, the Patterson Foundation is honoring the patriotic legacy of many generations of the Medill family who served our country both in war and peace, including Colonel McCormick, Captain Patterson, who returned from World War I to run the Chicago Tribune, Jim Patterson, the son of Captain Patterson, and his second wife, Mary. He graduated from West Point and served in World War II. After his career at the New York Daily News, Jim and his wife, Dorothy, retired to Longboat Key in the mid-1970s, where they lived until Jim's death in 1992. It was 5 years later when Dorothy created the Patterson Foundation with $3 million that grew to be worth over $200 million upon her death in 2007. Patriot Plaza is one of the Patterson Foundation's legacy initiatives where we honor the source of our wealth. From the connection with Abraham Lincoln to the military service of Medill's heirs, investing in a military initiative was most appropriate. You know, we could have donated to West Point, because that's where Jim went, or any number of veteran-serving organizations. But the Patterson Foundation does what others can't, aren't, or won't do. It was actually a bit of serendipity that Sarasota National Cemetery opened just about the time that Dorothy Patterson's estate was being settled. During the 2008 groundbreaking dedication of Sarasota National Cemetery, 1,000 guests were anticipated, and more than 3,000 showed up. And it was July, and there was no shade, and there was no seats. By the way, was anybody here for that groundbreaking? Could you just kind of stand up so we know how you've braved it over the years? All right? So we hope, although the temperatures are a little warm today, we're hoping you're enjoying the seats and the shade. Well, we thought, could the Patterson Foundation remedy this shade and seats thing? And we did discover there was nothing in the congressionally approved budget for such an enhancement. Would the VA be open to such a contribution? Well, it was our good fortune that Sarasota National Cemetery's director, Sandy Beckley, not only oversaw the construction and opening of Sarasota National Cemetery, but she was also retiring. She was a perfect consultant for us to be guided through the journey with the VA and the National Cemetery Administration. During the construction of Patriot Plaza, the Patterson Foundation created the Legacy of Valor campaign to honor veterans, inspire patriotism, and embrace freedom. We reached out to organizations throughout our region to co-create events that would embody partnering with others to lift up those who have served, are serving, and may serve in the future. And the true connecting came through the mosaic of the 100 different community organizations who created opportunities for 482,000 touches from performances, parades, job fairs, exhibits, and educational programming. Well, as the idea of the amphitheater evolved, we realized that it had to be more than just shade and seats. After all, we're located in Sarasota, where culture is part of our region's DNA. We knew art had to be integral to the experience. 4 nationally renowned artists, Larry Kirkland, Ellen Driscoll, Ann Hirsch, and Pablo Eduardo, have told us there is nothing like the art in Patriot Plaza in the world. During construction, 2 separate visitors, the now interim secretary of the VA, Sloan Gibson, and one of the retired directors from Arlington National Cemetery, used the words, "Patriot Plaza is an outdoor museum." Yes, thousands have already chosen Sarasota National Cemetery as their eternal resting place, and thousands more will do so. But Sarasota National Cemetery is also a place for the living. Patriot Plaza is a place for reflection, whether you have just buried a loved one or your family is out to see what this Patriot Plaza is about. Thanks to a partnership, with the Arts and Cultural Alliance and more than 24 volunteers, they actually act like 2,000 volunteers, they're so positive. Patriot Plaza has a cadre of caring art docents who will be available to help visitors understand the depth of the art. Whether it is why the colorful eagle sculptures are there or the meaning of the mosaic tiles in the spires and adorning the rostrum, or the 49 images embedded in marble for an eternity. All tied to those who served and the families who loved them while they protected our freedom. Whether you did serve, are serving, or may serve in the future, you are the 1% who care to protect the freedom for the rest of the 99% of us. And let us not forget the stories behind every headstone at Sarasota National Cemetery. They all give us moments of reflection. The National Cemetery Administration had never worked with an outside donor quite like the Patterson Foundation, so creating trust was imperative. And each of our professionals were stellar in bringing their expertise and experience to the table every single day. While the Patterson Foundation had its layers of oversight, both the VA and NCA worked with us to keep the job going, allowing for evening work and temporary road closures. Our appreciation to Sarasota National Cemetery's John Rosentrader and his entire staff for their support throughout the process. In addition to support from the Patterson Foundation's volunteer advisory groups, Patriot Plaza is a reality because of Gary Hoyt Architects and Willis Smith Construction Management, the world's best owner's representative, Art Bryant, phenomenal artists, consultants, and subcontractors. Each person who has been involved with Patriot Plaza, whether as a visionary, architect, construction manager, craftsman, each who built the superstructure, installed glass, molded the seats, laid a paver, planted a tree, or cemented a mosaic, each person is part of the legacy of the Patriot Plaza. Many people work tirelessly on all the details related to today's dedication, from ticket distribution to transportation to the creators of today's experience. From the Legacy Zone, where 26 veteran-serving organizations are showcasing their work, to the media for educating the public about Patriot Plaza, and the many, many stellar volunteers in those blue jerseys. I now ask everyone who has worked or volunteered throughout the Legacy of Valor campaign and the design and build of Patriot Plaza, as well as today's dedication, to stand so our community can show our gratitude. In addition to our visionary board of John Berteau, Dan Bailey, and Rick Gregoria, the Patterson Foundation operates with a lean staff. Myself, Office Manager Nancy Henry, and Initiative Support Carol Lipp. The staff has been immersed in every dimension of the Legacy of Valor and Patriot Plaza, including today's dedication. But there is one person who's been front and center, giving up her own life in Pensacola to live and breathe every aspect of Legacy of Valor and Patriot Plaza, from the big picture vision to the tiniest of details, Sandy Beckley. Please give her a hand, and the reason your hand is so important, Sandy would be here today except for a personal tragedy, so we are doing this in honor of Sandy, who wishes with all her heart she could be here, and your applause, we will make sure that she gets a chance to hear. and by the way, some questioned whether a female would ever be able to manage building something as grand as Patriot Plaza. I guess we could say yes, indeed. There is only admiration for our special Sandy and her pink hard hat and how she has led to create this new reality. Today, at this community dedication, the Patterson Foundation is proud to donate Patriot Plaza. How will Patriot Plaza be used in the future? Well, that is up to the imagination of you, the community. Director, Sarasota National Cemetery, John Rosentrader, he's the decider of what is appropriate. But I can imagine ceremonies that honor veterans, inspire patriotism, and embrace freedom. Patriot Plaza is a jewel for our community and a gift to the nation. Thank you very much.
President Abraham Lincoln authorized the creation of the first national cemeteries for veterans soon after the start of the Civil War. Lincoln's writings and speeches leave little doubt of the high esteem he held for soldiers who served. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln wrote, "Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor also to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves as best he can the same cause." It's been over 150 years since Abraham Lincoln shared those words, but his sentiment of honoring veterans has continued throughout the years. We are joined today by three poets, Chris DeMassa, Will Hartsvixen, and Cedric Hamid. Chris and Will? Chris and Will participated in the Legacy of Valor project at Fruitville Elementary School. The project involved interviewing veterans and writing poems inspired by that experience. Chris and Will share those poems with us now.
11199000950. Dedicate to the memory of Ernest Cave. You were once known by your dog tags and serial numbers. You won medals for your service. Those facts give an idea of who you were. I learned more. You like golf, you like Tiger Woods, you love your country and being able to say what you want to say. You're a good soldier by following and obeying the rules. They knew you by your serial number, I knew as man.
Imagine by Will Hartsvixen. Imagine being a veteran, brave as a lion but scared as a mouse. Imagine barely surviving the cold in a bombed and destroyed area. Imagine losing friends. Imagine not sleeping in days. Imagine not seeing your family in a year or more, or even never again. Imagine getting food you do not choose. Imagine what your loved ones would wonder about you. Imagine how long you would stay away from your family. Imagine being a veteran.
Well done. Well done.
The art of spoken word poetry has existed for centuries. The ancient Greeks included spoken word poetry in their Olympic Games. We are now joined by spoken word poet Cedric Hamid.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege. It's been over 150 years since Lincoln uttered the words of the Gettysburg Address. It is for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work. It is for us to be here dedicated to that great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. So let this day, this hour, these minutes and these seconds represent more than just another wasted day, but instead a new resurgence of focus for freedom. Let this be the time, this moment, this right now, be the chance we finally take to be brave and stand with honor. Because there was a time when our heads hung low, our outcome was uncertain. There was a time we stood divided, rendered powerless. There was a time where our differences were the roadblock to our harmony, but not today. On this day, we sing a new song of freedom, walk a new road of strength, paved with the bricks of sacrifice, love, and honor. We find strength, character, and ourselves on this path. We remember the lives laid down and the tears shed to give us direction, our spiritual compass in case we lose our way. Let our memories serve as the ink to our declaration to not let this new unity of resurgence perish. Thank you very much.
The selfless dedication of the men and women who have served our country is a great source of pride for us all. The Venice Concert Band, led by Bill Milner, will now perform the Armed Forces Salute. And we ask that all veterans and active duty military and their families stand when the theme of their branch of the military is played. Please sing along.
the United States Navy. The National Cemetery will be the final resting place for active duty, veterans, and eligible dependents of the Army, the Air Force, Coast Guard, Navy, and Marines, as well as merchant mariners of the Merchant Marines serving in World War II. Patriot Plaza was fully funded by the Patterson Foundation, and because of their generosity and vision, all of the citizens of Southwest Florida are able to call Patriot Plaza their own. It is now my pleasure to bring to the podium Congressman Vern Buchanan.
Wow, I knew it was going to be spectacular. A lot of us have worked on it for a long period of time, but it's over the top for our veterans and their families. And also, I just think about all the possibilities for Sarasota and this region, only in Sarasota. Let's give it a big round of applause. I was talking to the Air Force chaplain before, and I said, Chaplain, what do you think? What's your feeling? What's your thoughts on this? He said, I've done services all over the world, and we recognize many of the men and women that have fallen throughout the world. He said, but this feels very special. It's not only about recognizing their life, but it's also about recognizing life going forward, and I think he's got it right. He said, this balance feels very right to me. Thanks for your service, Chaplain. I want to thank John for emceeing today in ABC, let's give him a round of applause. What can you say about Deborah Jacobs? I've known Deborah for 20 years. When they were going to pick this up, because we had already gone down the road in terms of the cemetery, I said this will be an incredible asset to this community. She is very professional. I met her 20 years ago, 22 years ago. She was doing visioning and planning seminars. And I said, there's a world-class lady, and she's done a great job. Let's give her another round of applause. Also, I want to thank the board of the Patterson Foundation for their effort, as well as the special gift. With this gift of the Plaza, the Patterson Foundation has provided veterans and their families with a first-class facility for reflection, ceremony, and events. The Plaza will also serve as a lasting legacy of the Patterson family military heritage. Also, the VA, I want to thank them for their effort. I know we've got some challenges at the VA, but I got to tell you, the team here, and in terms of the natural cemeteries, I was on the veterans for 4 years, that committee. They do a world-class job. We'll fix the one veteran area, but you guys have done a great job here. Thank you, and I want to thank Sandy for her for two. Let's give them a round of applause. The private-public partnership will help honor veterans, inspire patriotism, and make Sarasota National Cemetery not only a great place for our veterans and their family, but it's going to be a must-see that you're going to want to see in Sarasota when you just think about the $2 million in art value. Also, I want to take time to thank all of our veterans that are here today. I'm very proud, and I just feel so enthused over the years to be able to serve on the VA committee for a period of time. We have 70,000 veterans in this region, and we have almost 400,000 veterans and their family that this cemetery will serve. Let's give the veterans another round of applause. It's their sacrifice that allows us to enjoy our American way of life. Freedom, as they say, is not free. Sarasota National Cemetery, in terms of my district, it serves 75-mile radius, as I mentioned, and we're going to be about 400,000 families. This cemetery will ensure that these veterans and the qualified members are laid to rest with respect and the dignity they deserve. I was honored to help secure $27 million for the construction of the cemetery. It wasn't that long ago when we bought the property here. Someone mentioned, I think it was $14 million. It's your money. The VA and the American taxpayers and you have about a $50 million investment also. Let's give you all a round of applause for what you've done. Patriot Plaza takes this project to a whole new level. And as I look forward in terms of the future, this isn't just an opportunity for Sarasota. This is something we're going to try to roll across the country with Deborah's leadership and the board's leadership. When people see this, it's a great opportunity for veterans and their communities. President Reagan once said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." Thank you, Patterson Foundation. Again, just in closing, I applaud the foundation, the VA working together, and again, a very innovative project. This is something that will roll across the country. I'm committed personally to it, but I just think it's something that's got enormous possibilities. And I'm also hopeful that the project can be replicated just like this. I can imagine other people, when they come and see this, they're going to say, "Give me one like that." So I'm very excited about that. But just in closing, thank all of you for being here. God bless our veterans, and God bless America.
As we go out into the world today after experiencing this magnificent morning, let our hearts remain full of the service and sacrifice of the brave men and women who have served our country. May we show our gratitude daily in our thoughts and in our actions. And as we revel in the glory of this day, please enjoy our final musical selection, John Philip Sousa's "The Stars and Stripes Forever." want to thank you all for being with us this morning. Please feel free to take your souvenir suit cushions, and we hope you do stay to experience the artwork surrounding Patriot Plaza. The docents are available to answer your questions. The Legacy Zone will be open until 12:30, and our shuttle buses will run continuously through 1 p.m. Safe home, everyone.